Alright, so I literally just got back from the theater. I went to see Morbius, and I wanted to give my thoughts on the movie.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
The first main thing I noticed was the fights felt kind of off. This movie really tries its best to portray Morbius and, spoilers ahead, Milo as superhumans. And one major part of this is having them dodge bullets. And the thing they did with this movie that I think made the action much less enjoyable was whenever a bullet was coming their way, they slowed down pretty much the entire interaction to portray the bullet being dodged. This may not sound like a bad thing, but it just looked really weird, even more so when they focus on the face of Morbius and Milo. I feel like a better route could have been like showing Morbius and Milo deflecting the bullets rather than full on dodge them. Even then, I don't think the slow-mo thing was the route to go. The fights aren't entirely bad. I like the concept this movie had with Morbius's movement trailing black behind him, but the execution of the fights is what I think was poor. At some points they randomly switched to first person, which got a bit weird for me. Combined with all the slow motion shit that was going on, I didn't really enjoy the fights a lot. I also didn't feel really any attraction to any of the characters. Some may say, oh well, it's hard to get you really attracted to a character in the length of a movie, but I don't think that's really true, because things like Demon Slayer have done it in arguably less time than Morbius through Enmu's ability, which was really creative. Not saying Morbius should have done something similar, but they could have done a far better job with giving the audience a measure of attraction to the characters. The only character I felt was somewhat enjoyable was Milo. At one point he said something like, we've had to live with death over our heads for our entire lives, why can't they feel like us or something? I forget exactly what he said, but I felt like that short little speech gave him the makings for a somewhat decent villain. Unfortunately, I was wrong, because pretty much right after that, everything he said was abandoned, and he just went back to the whole typical villain thing. I felt like so many characters were just offshots from Venom, and this entire movie kind of just reminded me of a worse version of Venom. However, I think Venom, in every area they were similar, did it just so much better. It's not awful, but it's not good either. It's kind of like standing between the mediocre and bad range. So much could have been done better. The comedy, when it was there, was awful. The combat had a unique concept, but it fucked up with the weird slow motion stuff in the final fight where they were like crashing through the sewers, and I swear almost 90% of the screen was obscured for the entire time. The villain was bad. He had the makings of a decent villain, but his ideologies were completely abandoned. It felt kind of like he was just rushed into the final fight. Almost no characters had any chemistry. The acting was fine, but apart from that, the characters were just mediocre. But oh well. That just about sums up my thoughts on the movie. I didn't really like it. Some people might like it. It's not my kind of movie.